The engine room hummed with a low, steady rhythm. Sung wiped the grease from his hands and looked at the repaired fuel line. It would hold now. It always did when he fixed something. That was his job on the Eternal Vigilance, the biggest warship in the Galactic Coalition fleet. He fixed things. He cleaned things. He stayed out of the way. Other soldiers walked past him without a second glance. To them, he was just another human. Humans were new to the galaxy. They were weak. They were small. They were only good for support work. That was what everyone believed. Sung did not mind. He kept his head down and did his work. It was easier that way. "Move aside, human," a tall officer said, pushing past him. The alien's blue skin gleamed under the bright lights. Commander, he was always like this, always rude, always certain that he was better than everyone else. Sung stepped back and said nothing. He watched stride toward the bridge, his chest puffed out with pride. Other officers followed him. They were heading to an important meeting. Humans were never invited to those. Sung returned to his work. He had 3 more repairs to finish before his shift ended. The work was simple but necessary. Without people like him, the great warship would fall apart. But no one ever thanked him. No one ever noticed. Hours later, Sung sat in the small human quarters. There were only 12 humans on the entire ship. They had the smallest rooms, the worst food, and the least respect. But they were alive. They were safe. For Sung, that was enough. Dr. Park Hayan entered the room. She was the only other human Sung spoke to regularly. She was a doctor, smart and kind. She sat down across from him with a tired smile. "Long day?" she asked. "Same as always," Sung replied. Hayan studied his face. She had known him for 2 years now, ever since Earth joined the Coalition. She knew things about him that others did not, things he did not talk about. "I heard is planning another mission," she said carefully. "They received a distress call from 7. It is a mining colony. Forces are attacking." Sung's hand stopped moving. His sister worked on 7. Li-1 was a doctor there running the medical facility. She had been so happy to get that position. It was peaceful, she had said. Safe. "When do they deploy?" he asked, his voice calm. "Tomorrow morning. Is assembling his elite team." Elite team? That meant no humans. Sung knew how this worked. The other species took all the glory. Humans stayed behind and cleaned up the mess. But this was different. This was one. The next morning, Sung stood in the deployment bay. Commander was there with 20 of his best soldiers, warriors with thick armor, fighters with sharp claws, scouts with quick reflexes. They were the best the Coalition had to offer. Was giving a speech about honor and victory. His soldiers cheered. They loaded their weapons and checked their armor. They looked ready for war. Sung stepped forward. "Commander." The turned, surprised. Then he smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Yes, human, do you need something?" "I request permission to join the mission to 7. The deployment bay went silent. Then someone laughed. Then another. Soon all of soldiers were laughing. Even the commander chuckled, shaking his head. "You join my elite team," walked closer, looking down at Sung. The human was smaller, shorter, and wearing a simple uniform. "What can you possibly offer? Can you even fire a weapon?" "I can fight," Sung said quietly. Laughed harder. "I am sure you can, against other humans perhaps, but this is real combat. This is against the Empire. They are fierce. They are deadly. You would die before you even left the ship. My sister is on that colony." The laughter stopped. Smile faded. For a moment something like pity crossed his face. Then it was gone. "Then I am sorry for your sister," said. "But I cannot waste a spot on my team for sentiment. I need warriors. You are a mechanic. Stay here and do what you are good at. Fix engines. Clean floors. Leave the fighting to real soldiers." Sung did not move. "Commander, I..." Dismissed human, turned his back. "My team departs in 10 minutes. Everyone else prepare for launch." Sung stood there for a moment longer. He watched the elite team board their assault ship. He watched them laugh and joke, confident in their abilities. He watched them leave. He returned to the human quarters. Heian was waiting there. She saw his face and knew immediately what had happened. "He refused," she said softly. Sung nodded. He sat down heavily. For the first time in years, his calm mask cracked. His hands clenched into fists. "One is there," he whispered. "My sister is there, and they will not let me help her." Heian moved closer. She had always wondered when Sung would break. She had seen his files. She knew what Earth's military had erased when he joined the coalition. She knew what he truly was. "They do not know," she said. "They do not know who you really are." "It does not matter who I was," Sung said bitterly. "I am just a mechanic now, just a worthless human." "You were never just anything." Heian pulled out a small data pad. "I kept your real records, the ones from Earth, before the coalition, before you became invisible." Sung looked at the pad. He saw his old photo, younger, harder, wearing the black uniform of Earth's Special Operations Division, the most elite soldiers humanity had ever produced. Ghost Unit. That was what they had called his team. They went where others could not. They won battles that could not be won. He had been the best of them. "That person is gone," Sung said. "I left him behind." "Did you, or did you just hide him?" Heian asked. "You wanted one to have a better life. You accepted insults and disrespect so she could be safe, but now she needs you. Now she needs the real Sung." Sung stared at the photo for a long time. Then he heard the announcement over the ship's speakers. His team had reached 7. The battle had begun. He stood up. His face was calm again, but something had changed in his eyes, something cold and sharp. "I need to contact Admiral," he said. Heian smiled. Finally, the galaxy would see what humans really were. On the bridge, Admiral received the message. The old commander was surprised when a human requested an urgent meeting. He was even more surprised when Sung walked in and made a simple request. "I want to deploy to 7, alone." The bridge crew stared. Some laughed. Others looked confused. Admiral studied the human carefully. "One soldier, against the Empire." "Yes, sir." "You will die." "Perhaps, but those are coalition citizens down there. They deserve someone who will not abandon them." Considered this. He had heard the reports, was struggling. They were stronger than expected. Soon would have to make a terrible choice. Orbital bombardment, destroy the colony to prevent occupation. "You have 48 hours, said finally. "If you fail, we destroy the colony from orbit." Sung bowed, "Thank you, Admiral." As he left the bridge, he heard the whispers, the laughter, the disbelief. They all thought he was walking to his death. They had no idea who he really was. The galaxy was about to learn. Commander landed his assault ship in the main plaza of 7. The colony looked peaceful, too peaceful. He did not like it. "Spread out," he ordered his team. "Search every building, find the colonists and secure the perimeter." His soldiers moved with confidence. They were the elite, the best warriors from 4 different species, that would regret attacking this colony. Li Wan heard the ship's landing. She ran to the window of the medical center and felt relief flood through her. The coalition had sent help. They would be safe now. "Dr. Li, we need to evacuate the patients," her assistant said. Bin was young, barely 20 years old. She was scared. They all were. "Not yet," one said. "Let the soldiers secure the area first. Moving the patients now would be dangerous." She watched the coalition soldiers spread through the colony. They looked strong, professional. Surely they could handle The attack came 30 minutes later. Fighters dropped from the sky like black rain. They were bigger than the coalition soldiers, covered in dark armor that seemed to absorb light. Their weapons crackled with purple energy. His team responded immediately. They fired their weapons, creating a storm of laser fire. Several fell, smiled. This would be easier than he thought. Then they activated their new technology. A pulse of energy spread across the battlefield. Suddenly, every coalition soldier's shield flickered and died. Their armor became just metal. Their weapons became their only defense. "What is happening?" one of soldiers shouted. "Shield disruptors," realized with horror. "Fall back, regroup at." A blade cut through his soldier before he could finish. Then another soldier fell, and another. They moved with terrible efficiency. Without shields, the coalition soldiers were vulnerable. Their thick armor slowed them down. Their heavy weapons required both hands. They had relied on technology for so long that they had forgotten how to fight without it. They had not forgotten. One watched from the medical center as the battle turned into a massacre. Coalition soldiers were falling everywhere. They pushed forward, unstoppable. "We need to hide," Ben whispered, her voice shaking. One grabbed her arm. "Get everyone to the underground storage. Now move quietly." They began moving patients through the back corridors. One counted heads, 43 people in the medical center, 43 lives depending on her. Outside realized he had lost. More than half his team was dead. The rest were scattered and panicking. He had never faced an enemy like this. In all his years of service, he had always won through superior firepower and technology. Now that was gone, and he did not know what to do. "Retreat to the ships," he finally ordered. "We cannot win this." His remaining soldiers ran. They abandoned their positions. They left wounded comrades behind. They fled like animals. The colonists watched in disbelief as their defenders ran away. Reached his ship and took off immediately. He did not look back. He did not count how many of his soldiers made it. He just ran. On the Eternal Vigilance, Admiral watched the sensor data with growing anger. Ship was returning. Alone. Most of his team was dead or captured. Coward muttered. Stumbled onto the bridge an hour later. His armor was scorched. His face was pale. He looked like he had seen death itself. Reports demanded. They have shield disruptors," stammered. "We could not fight them. We had to retreat." "You abandoned the colony." "We would have all died." His claws extended. He wanted to tear apart right there, but that would not help the colonists. "How many?" he asked coldly. "At least 400, maybe more." Looked at the tactical display. 400 soldiers occupying 7. If they fortified their position, it would take a full fleet to remove them. The coalition could not spare a full fleet, not with the war spreading across 3 sectors. There was only one option. "Prepare for orbital bombardment," ordered. "We will destroy the colony. We cannot allow them to establish a base there." The bridge crew began preparing the weapons. It was the logical choice, the smart choice. Sacrifice one colony to protect the greater coalition. But it meant killing everyone down there, including the colonists who had done nothing wrong except trust the coalition to protect them. Dr. Park Hayen burst onto the bridge. "Admiral, you cannot do this." "I have no choice, Doctor." "Give Sung his chance," she pleaded. "You promised him 48 hours. One human cannot succeed where 20 elite soldiers failed. You do not know what he is capable of." Hesitated. He looked at the countdown. 43 hours remained of the time he had given Sung. The human was already in his drop pod, preparing to launch. It was madness, it was suicide, it would change nothing. But had given his word. "He has his 48 hours, said finally. "After that we fire." Sung sat in the small drop pod. He had stripped down his gear to the minimum. No heavy armor, no powerful weapons, just what he could carry and use. A combat knife, a sidearm, climbing rope, medical supplies, and something the coalition had never seen before, something from Earth. He checked his equipment one last time. Then he activated his communicator. "Hayen, can you hear me?" "Yes," her voice came back. "Sung, your sister is still alive. I hacked into the colony sensors. She is in the underground storage beneath the medical center." Sung closed his eyes. One was alive. That was all that mattered. "I am going to get her out," he said quietly. "I know you will. And Sung, show them all what humans really are." The drop pod launched. It fell through space like a meteor, silent and invisible. Coalition stealth technology at its finest. They would never see it coming. As he fell toward the colony, Sung felt something he had not felt in years. Purpose, clarity, the calm that came before battle. He had spent 2 years being invisible, 2 years being insulted, 2 years pretending to be weak. But he was not weak. He never had been. The Ghost Unit had taught him how to fight, how to survive, how to win against impossible odds. Earth's wars had been brutal. Humans had fought each other for centuries before reaching the stars. They had learned every dirty trick, every tactic, every way to kill an enemy. The galaxy had never seen real human warfare. They had only seen humans trying to fit in, trying to be civilized, trying to be like them. That was over now. The drop pod hit the ground in the outskirts of the colony. Sung emerged into the darkness. He moved like shadow, silent, invisible. He saw patrols in the distance. 4 soldiers per group. They walked with confidence. They had won. The colony was theirs. Sung smiled. It was not a kind smile. They thought they had won. They thought it was over. They had no idea. The battle had not even started yet. He moved toward the first patrol. His knife was already in his hand. In the underground storage, one held bin clothes. The young woman was crying softly. Around them, 41 other colonists waited in the darkness. They could hear boots walking above them. Soldiers searching. "Will anyone come for us?" Bin whispered. One thought about her brother. Sung was safe on the coalition ship. He would survive. That was all she could hope for. "I do not know," she answered honestly. Above them a patrol stopped. One soldier's communicator crackled, then went silent. "Patrol 7 report," the command center called. "Patrol 7 acknowledge." No response. In the darkness outside the colony, Sung cleaned his knife. 4 bodies lay hidden in the shadows. They would not find them until morning. By then, he would have killed many more. The hunt had begun. General stood in the command center he had established in the colony administration building. The conquest of 7 had been easy. Too easy. The coalition forces had run like frightened children. He looked at the tactical display. His 400 soldiers controlled every major building. They had captured supplies. They had secured the perimeter. In a few days, reinforcements would arrive and the colony would become a permanent base. "General, Patrol 7 is not responding," his communications officer reported. Barely looked up. "Send Patrol 9 to check on them." "Yes, sir." It was probably nothing. Equipment failure. The coalition technology in this colony was primitive, nothing to worry about. 20 minutes later, Patrol 9 found Patrol 7. All 4 soldiers were dead. Their throats had been cut. Their bodies had been hidden behind a power generator. "General," the patrol leader's voice came through with panic. "We found them. They are all dead. Someone killed them." "Stood up what? How?" "I do not know, sir. There are no signs of a fight, no weapon discharge, just cuts. Secure the area, find who did this." But there was no one to find. The killer was already gone. Sung moved through the colony like a ghost. That had been his in the old days. Ghost. The soldier no one saw coming. The one who walked through enemy lines like they did not exist. He had studied the patrol patterns for the first hour. They were predictable. Every 20 minutes, a new patrol walked the same route. They never varied. They trusted their technology. They trusted their numbers. That would kill them. He found Patrol 12 near the water treatment plant. 4 more soldiers. They were talking, relaxed. They thought they had already won. Sung waited until they separated. One walked to the left, one to the right, two stayed in the center. He took the left one first, a hand over the mouth, the knife between the armor plates, quick and silent, the fell without a sound. Then the right one, same method, same result. The two in the center never knew their companions were dead until Sung was already among them. His knife flashed twice. Both fell. 8 dead in the first 3 hours. On the eternal vigilance, the crew watched in stunned silence. They had hacked into the communications. They could hear everything. Another patrol missing. Patrol 15 is down, all dead. What is happening? Who is doing this? Admiral leaned forward. How many has he killed? 16 confirmed, the sensor officer reported. In 6 hours. Commander stood in the back of the bridge. His face was pale. Impossible, one human cannot. Be silent, growled. Watch and learn what real soldiers can do. Sung had moved beyond simple elimination now. He was sending a message. He dragged bodies into the open. He left them where patrols would find them. He wanted them to be afraid. Fear was a weapon. In the Ghost Unit, they had learned that killing the enemy was only half the battle. Breaking their will was the other half. General stared at the reports. 24 soldiers dead. No sign of the attacker. His men were starting to panic. It must be Coalition Special Forces, he said. A full infiltration team. Sir, our sensors show no other ships landed, Captain reported. The intelligence officer looked worried. Only one small drop pod. It landed in Sector 7. Then send 50 soldiers to Sector 7. Find them. 50 soldiers marched to Sector 7. They found nothing. No enemies, no camp, no equipment. What they did find were traps. The first soldier stepped on a pressure plate. An explosion tore through the group. 5 died instantly. 10 more were wounded. The survivors scattered, looking for cover. That was when the real attack began. Sniper fire from 3 different directions. Not powerful weapons, just a simple sidearm, but fired with perfect accuracy. Headshots, neck shots, gaps in the armor. 10 more soldiers fell, the rest ran. Sung watched them flee from his position in an old storage building. He had built the trap in the first hour. Simple explosives from mining equipment. Carefully aimed angles for firing positions. Basic tactics from Earth's old wars. The galaxy had forgotten how to fight dirty. Humans never had. He moved to his next position. Time to visit the colonists. One heard the explosion, then gunfire. The above them started shouting and running. Something was happening. What is going on? Bin whispered. I do not know, one admitted, but stay quiet. The sounds of battle faded, then silence. One waited, her heart pounding. A soft knock came on the hidden door. 3 taps, pause, 2 taps. One froze. That was the old code. The one her brother had taught her when they were children. The one only family knew. She opened the door slowly. A figure stood in the darkness. Combat gear, face covered, but she knew those eyes. Sung, she whispered. He pulled down his mask. Hello, sister. One could not speak. She had thought he was safe on the ship. She had thought she would never see him again. And now he was here, in the middle of a war zone. What are you doing here? She finally managed. Saving you. He looked at the other colonists. All of you, but I need your help. Help? How can we help? We are not soldiers. You do not need to be soldiers, you just need to be brave. He pulled out a small data pad. They have taken over the main buildings, but they are spread thin. They think they have one. I am going to teach them they have not. There is only one of you, one said, and 400 of them. Sung smiled. It was the smile he used to have when they were young, when he had promised to protect her from anything. Then the odds are in my favor. Over the next 6 hours, Sung taught the colonists basic tactics. Not how to fight, but how to hide, how to move, how to be ghosts like him. Dong Min was the colony's security officer. He had never seen real combat, but he understood what Sung was teaching. "You are turning the entire colony into a trap," Dongmin said. "Yes, they think this is their base. I am going to make it their tomb." Sung showed them how to create simple traps from everyday items, how to sabotage equipment, how to move without being seen. Most importantly, he taught them not to be afraid. "They are bigger than you," he said, "stronger, better armed, but they are in our territory, they are far from home, and they have no idea what humans can do when we fight for what we love." By hour 18, the colonists were ready. By hour 20, Sung had sabotaged the supply lines. By hour 24, General was pulling his soldiers back to defensible positions. He had lost 70 soldiers. He had no idea how many enemies he faced. His men were terrified. They saw ghosts in every shadow. "How many are there?" he demanded. "We do not know," General reported. "Maybe a dozen, maybe more." "Find them, I want prisoners. I want answers." But there were no answers, only more dead soldiers, more sabotage, more fear. On the eternal vigilance, the crew watched in awe. 24 hours had passed. One human had reduced the occupation force to chaos. "How is he doing this?" whispered. Dr. Hayen stood beside Admiral. She smiled. "He is doing what humans do best. He is adapting, improvising, turning everything into a weapon. Your elite soldiers relied on their strength and technology. Sung is relying on his mind." "One human," said quietly. "One human is destroying an entire battalion." "Not just any human," Hayen corrected. "The best human, but Admiral, every human soldier is trained like this. Every human knows these tactics. You just never asked us to fight." Looked at her, really looked at her. For the first time he understood. Humans were not weak. They had just been hiding their strength. Below on 7, Sung prepared for the next phase. The colonists were armed with improvised weapons. The traps were set. They were gathered in the main plaza. He had 24 hours left, time to finish this. General made his decision. Gather all the colonists, use them as bait, force the attacker to reveal himself. It was a good plan, a smart plan. But Sung had expected it. The final battle was about to begin. General stood in the center of the main plaza. Around him, 300 of his remaining soldiers formed a defensive perimeter. In the middle, surrounded by weapons, were 200 colonists. Men, women, children, all huddled together terrified. "Whoever is attacking us," announced loudly, "you have 1 hour to surrender. If you do not, I will execute 10 colonists every 10 minutes until you do." He meant it. He was tired of being hunted, tired of losing soldiers to an invisible enemy. This would end now. One stood among the hostages. She searched the shadows looking for her brother. He would not come. He was smart enough to know this was a trap. But part of her hoped he would anyway. Sung watched from a rooftop 3 buildings away. He saw the hostages. He saw one. He saw the confident now that they had regained control. He checked his equipment one last time. This was it. The moment he had been preparing for. 24 hours of sabotage. 24 hours of psychological warfare, all leading to this. He activated his communicator. "Dongmin, are your people ready?" "Yes," the security officer whispered from his hiding spot. "We are scared, but we are ready." "Good, remember, you do not need to win. You just need to survive. I will handle the rest." Sung stood up. He stepped to the edge of the rooftop where everyone could see him. One small human in simple combat gear. No armor, no heavy weapons, just a man. Every weapon turned toward him. Stared in disbelief. "One, there is only one of you." Sung said nothing. He just started walking, down the building stairs, across the street, toward the plaza. 300 weapons tracked his movement. Any one of them could kill him instantly. "Stop," ordered. "Stop or I will." "You will do nothing," Sung interrupted. His voice was calm, cold. You have already lost, you just do not know it yet. Laughed, it was a harsh, angry sound. Look around you, human. I have 300 soldiers, you have nothing. You are going to die here. Maybe, Sung agreed. He kept walking. But you are going to die first. He reached the edge of the plaza. Every soldier tensed. This was insane. This was suicide. Sung stopped. He looked then he smiled. I am not just one man, he said. I am the warning you ignored. He raised his hand and snapped his fingers. The plaza exploded into chaos. Every trap Sung had spent 24 hours preparing activated at once. Explosives hidden in the ground, in the walls, in the very buildings they were using for cover. The perimeter collapsed. 50 soldiers died in the first 10 seconds. The colonists that Dong Min had organized burst from their hiding places. They were not trying to fight. They were creating confusion, throwing smoke grenades, setting off alarms, running in every direction. The panicked, they fired at shadows, at each other, at anything that moved. And in the center of it all, Sung moved like death itself. He had no super strength, no special powers. He was just a human, but he had something that did not. He had spent his entire life learning how to fight enemies stronger than him. His knife found the gaps in their armor. His sidearm hit them where shields could not protect. He moved between them like water, never staying in one place. Swung a blade at him. Sung ducked, rolled, came up behind the soldier and cut through the armor joint at the knee. The fell. Sung moved to the next target. It was not elegant, it was not honorable, it was brutal, efficient killing. This was human warfare. This was what centuries of fighting each other had taught them. General watched his perfect trap fall apart. He saw his soldiers dying. He saw one small human destroying everything. Kill him, he roared. Everyone kill that human. 100 weapons fired at Sung, but he was already gone, rolling behind cover. The shots hit other instead. Dong Min and his colonists were not fighters, but they had learned from Sung. They set fires, they collapsed structures, they made noise and chaos. They could not organize, could not regroup. They were trapped in the plaza with an enemy they could not see and could not predict. On the Eternal Vigilance, the bridge crew watched in silence. They saw the sensor readings, saw the forces falling apart. This is impossible, whispered. No, Admiral said softly, this is humanity. The battle lasted 6 hours, 6 hours of chaos and death. Sung was everywhere and nowhere. When the group together, explosions scattered them. When they split up, he hunted them one by one. He was wounded, a blade had cut his arm. Energy fire had burned his shoulder, but he kept moving, kept fighting. Because one was watching, the colonists were watching, the galaxy was watching. He could not stop, not yet. General found himself alone. His soldiers were dead or fleeing. The plaza was burning, and walking toward him through the smoke was the human. Small, wounded, but unstoppable. What are you? Asked, his voice breaking. What kind of creature fights like this? Sung stopped a few meters away. Blood dripped from his wounds. His gear was torn, but his eyes were clear. I am what humans are when you push us too far, he said quietly. We do not start fights. We do not want war, but when you threaten what we love, when you hurt our families, we do not stop. We do not surrender. We finish it. This is not civilized warfare, spat. No, Sung agreed. This is human warfare. This is what we learned fighting each other for thousands of years. The galaxy forgot how to really fight. You all have your technology, your shields, your honor codes, humans. We learned to win by any means necessary. Raised his weapon. Sung was faster. His knife flew through the air and Pin's hand to the wall behind him. The screamed. Sung walked forward and pulled the knife free, collapsed, holding his wounded hand. You are my prisoner now, Sung said. Tell your remaining soldiers to surrender or I will hunt every single one of them down. Looked into the human's eyes and saw no mercy there, no hesitation, just cold certainty. He believed him. "This is General," he spoke into his communicator with his good hand. "All forces, surrender. The colony is lost." Across 7, soldiers dropped their weapons. They had had enough. They had faced death itself in human form. One ran to her brother. He was still standing, but barely. She caught him as he started to fall. "You came," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "You actually came." "I promised to always protect you," Sung said softly. "Did you think I would break that promise?" Around them, colonists were crying, cheering. They were alive. Against all odds, they had survived. Dongmin approached, his face filled with awe. "We did it. We actually won." "You won," Sung corrected. "You fought for your home. I just showed you how." On the Eternal Vigilance, Admiral stood. The entire bridge crew was silent. They had watched one human defeat 400 soldiers. No, not just defeat, destroy. "How many casualties?" asked quietly. "Forces, 387 dead, 13 captured," the tactical officer reported. "Colonist forces, 14 wounded, 2 dead, and—" "And what?" "The human, Sung, he is still alive." Could not believe it. It was impossible. Everything he knew about warfare said this should not have happened. But it did. Admiral looked at the data, at the recordings, at the proof that everything he thought he knew about humans was wrong. "Send medical teams to the surface," he ordered, "and prepare a formal reception. We are going to welcome a hero home." For the first time in galactic history, a human was called a hero. It would not be the last time. 3 months had passed since the Battle of 7. The galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. Sung stood in the command center of the Coalition headquarters. He wore a new uniform now, black with silver trim, the uniform of the Terra Division, humanity's own military force within the Coalition. He was no longer invisible. "Commander Sung," Admiral approached. The old leader looked different now, humbler. "The council is ready for you." Sung nodded. He followed through the gleaming corridors. Everywhere he walked, soldiers stopped and saluted, all of them showing respect. It felt strange. 3 months ago they had laughed at him. Now they treated him like a legend. The council chamber was filled with representatives from every coalition species. At the center sat Ambassador O. She was Earth's voice in the galaxy now. Smart, diplomatic, and absolutely ruthless when needed. "Commander," she greeted him with a slight smile, "please join us." Sung took his seat. Around him, alien leaders watched with careful eyes. They had all seen the recordings from 7. They knew what one human could do. Now they wanted to know what all humans could do. "The Council has reviewed Earth's proposal," the representative said. His name was, and he had replaced Mentor after 7. "You wish to create an integrated special forces unit, led by humans, teaching our soldiers your methods." "Yes," Sung confirmed. "The Empire has new weapons, new tactics. Your traditional methods are not working. We can help." "By teaching our soldiers to fight like savages?" a representative asked. There was no insult in his voice, just curiosity. "By teaching them to win," Sung replied simply. "You call our methods savage. We call them practical. When the enemy does not follow your rules, you need someone who can fight without rules." Ambassador O leaned forward. "The Terra Division is not asking for control. We are offering partnership. Human tactical advisors working with coalition forces, teaching what we know, learning from you in return." "And if we refuse?" asked. "Then you refuse," O said calmly. "Earth will continue to serve the coalition as we have. But when the next 7 happens, do not be surprised if your elite forces fail again." The words hung in the air. It was not a threat, it was a fact. The council voted. It was not unanimous. Some species still did not trust humans, but enough voted yes. The Terra Division was approved. Sung left the council chambers and found Dr. Park Hae-in waiting. She had been promoted to chief medical officer. Her expertise in human physiology had become invaluable. They agreed, she asked. They agreed. Now comes the hard part. Training them. No, Sung said, changing how they think. The Terra Division training facility was built on a moon orbiting Earth. It was simple, harsh, nothing like the luxurious coalition academies. Colonel Shin Bora ran the day-to-day operations. She had been a training instructor on Earth, tough, fair, and completely unimpressed by rank or species. The first class of recruits arrived, 20 soldiers from 6 different species, all volunteers, all elite by their own military standards. Bora looked at them and smiled. They were about to learn what elite really meant. Welcome to Terra Division, she announced. You are here because your leaders think you are the best. You are about to learn you are not, but if you survive training, you will be. A soldier raised his hand. We are already trained warriors. What can you teach us? Bora walked up to him. She was half his size. Everything you do not know, starting with humility. She moved fast. Before they could react, she had swept his legs and put him on the ground. He was bigger, stronger, but she understood leverage and momentum. Size does not matter, she said, helping him up. Speed does not matter. What matters is using what you have to defeat what they have. Now let us begin. The training was brutal. No shields, no advanced weapons, just basic gear and their own skills. They learned to move silently, to use the environment as a weapon, to think 3 steps ahead, to turn anything into a tool for killing. Most importantly, they learned to work together. Humans did not fight alone. They fought as teams, covering each other, trusting each other. By the end of the first month, half the recruits had quit. They could not handle it. The ones who remained were different, harder, smarter. They stopped being or they became Terra Division. News of Seven had spread across the galaxy. The Empire had tried to suppress it, but you cannot hide the truth when it is that dramatic. One human had defeated a battalion. Inside the Empire, people started asking questions. If one human could do that, what could an army of humans do? Rebellion started on 3 controlled worlds. The Empire's iron grip was cracking. The High Command demanded peace talks. They wanted the war to end before it got worse. But they had one condition. The human who destroyed our forces must not attend. Admiral found this amusing. You are afraid of him. We respect his abilities, the ambassador said carefully. His presence would be inflammatory. The peace talks happened without Sung, but his shadow hung over every discussion. They agreed to withdraw from disputed territories. They agreed to pay reparations. They agreed to almost everything the coalition demanded. Because they were afraid that if they did not, more humans like Sung would come for them. On Earth, Sung visited his home for the first time in 3 years. The planet had changed. Once seen as a backwater world, it was now respected, feared even. One met him at the spaceport. She looked happy, healthy. The trauma of Seven had faded. They are calling you a hero, she said. I am just a soldier. No, you are the soldier who changed everything. She took his hand. You gave humanity a voice in the galaxy. Sung looked up at the stars. Somewhere up there, the Terra Division was training. Human tactics were spreading. The galaxy was learning what Earth had always known. War was not about technology. It was not about size or strength. It was about will, adaptability, the refusal to give up. I did not do it to be a hero, Sung said quietly. I did it to save you. I know, but you saved more than me. You saved humanity's future. Back on the Eternal Vigilance had been demoted to maintenance duty. It was poetic justice. He now did the job Sung once had. He watched the Terra Division recruits training on the observation deck. They moved like nothing he had ever seen. Fast, coordinated, deadly. Admiral stood beside him. You had the chance to see his potential. You chose mockery instead. I did not know, said bitterly. That is the problem. You assumed. You judged without understanding, and it cost lives. Walked away, leaving alone with his thoughts. 6 months after 7, the Terra Division deployed for the first time. A pirate stronghold had been terrorizing trade routes. Coalition forces had failed to crack it 3 times. Sung led 20 Terra Division soldiers, mixed species, all trained in human tactics. They took the stronghold in 6 hours. No casualties. The pirates surrendered rather than face them. Word spread. The Terra Division became the Coalition's most requested unit. Everyone wanted them. Everyone respected them. And it all started with one human who refused to give up. 1 year after 7, a new threat emerged. Unknown ships attacking Coalition space. Fast, deadly, unlike anything they had faced before. Admiral called Sung to the bridge. We need your assessment. Sung studied the data. These enemies were good, professional. They hit hard and disappeared. They fight like us, he said finally. Hit and run, no honor codes, just efficiency. Can we beat them? Sung looked then at the Terra Division patch on his uniform, Earth's flag flying beside the Coalition banner. Yes, he said with confidence, because we learned from the best teacher. Who? Each other. Humans fought humans for centuries. We know every trick, every tactic. Whatever is out there, we have seen it before. Smiled. It was a fierce, predatory smile. Then let us show them what happens when you underestimate the Coalition. Or humanity, Sung added. Is there a difference anymore? Sung thought about the mixed species teams, about aliens learning human tactics, about respect earned through action. No, he said finally, not anymore. The eternal vigilance turned toward the unknown threat. Behind it, a fleet of Coalition ships followed, and leading them all was the Terra Division. Humanity had entered the galactic stage. They had been underestimated, mocked, dismissed. But they had proven themselves, not through words, through actions. And the galaxy would never make that mistake again. Somewhere in the void, enemies waited. They thought they were strong. They thought they could not be stopped. They were wrong. They were about to meet humanity. And their downfall had already begun.